Insane. Insane.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. It's Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is legit paranormal. Why do I whisper it? It is November 2121. So for all you math geeks, it's 112121. You happy now? Joining me is always, speaking of math, the genius Kev. What's up, buddy?
What's up, King? You whisper it because you're scared.
Yeah, is that it?
That's why. Yeah, that's it. But I gotta say, I've had a great few days. Friday night, went to see one of my favorite comedians, Gary Gulman. Went to see him up in Boston. He's a local Boston guy. He's absolutely hilarious. Saturday night was my Uncle Mario's birthday, so we went and had some Italian food in Johnston, the whole family. Sunday, doing pretty good with the NFL bets. So heading on the glide path to a great paranormal show and just wrap up the week.
By the way, I got to be, as one Italian to another, I'm shocked that you have an Uncle Mario.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Really?
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't happen to have an Uncle Anthony or something like that, would you, Uncle Tony?
Oh, yep. I got one of those. Yep. Yeah, we could trade right down the line.
Same old, same old. Joining us back from beyond, it's Buddy Thayer. Buddy, how are you?
Unlike Kev, I've had a terrible, awful last probably almost 2 weeks now. I battled in a Royal Rumble matchup pancreatitis, and pancreatitis put me in a figure four leg lock. Oof. And I was crying for Dilaudid, crying for morphine in the hospital, belly over, miserable, bitchy, everything else. The people around me who supported me all week, some of my closest friends, my family, I love you. I totally appreciate you being there for me, doing things for me, get me situated, get me to where I need to be, putting me on the right track. This is what you need to eat. This is when you need to exercise. This is you shouldn't be drinking 6 to 12 beers, craft beers, mind you, on a weekend or twice a weekend for that matter. So my beer of the week will only be, of course, what it was meant to ever be, was to spotlight a local delicious brewery and for me to drink the beer. So let me get to it.
Yeah, don't be depressing about the beer, though.
It's not depressing. Oh, I'm not depressed, Michael. I have a beer in front of me for the first 2 weeks. It's called Gigantium, and ironically enough, it's made by Widowmaker Brewing. So appropriate, I thought. And Gigantium is made right up there in Boston, right up there in Weymouth. Actually, Braintree, I think, right near where our guest this weekend is from. So I'm very excited. Gigantium, the Gigantium. I'm all about Gigantium.
I could listen to you say that word for hours, bud.
It's mapley and it's delicious.
Kev, what I got going on is I'm taking Corona beers, and then I'm filling the neck with this tequila, which is called
Gigantium.
Peloton de la Muerte. So it's Death Battalion or something like that, a platoon. I don't know. Anyways. There's a point when you drink that tequila where you swear you might be dying because you taste gasoline for a split second and then you come back. So I know where they got the name. So if you see me at some point, see like I died for maybe a couple seconds, don't worry. I just maybe had a shot of tequila, that's all. Buddy, why don't you welcome in our guest?
Okay, so our guest this evening comes to us from right in my beer neighborhood, right in Boston. He's a longtime paranormal investigator. He's a geek and guru of the video and audio surveillance technologies of the paranormal investigator field. He's investigated everywhere and anywhere that's in my bucket list, and a few of the places that I've been myself. Joe Rainone.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thanks for having me on.
So, Joe, from what I'm led to believe, you're just a straight up paranormal investigator. Bang. That's what you do, right? That's your.
Yeah, straight up.
Right.
Yep, without question.
question I want to know first is because I moved this TV and it was like maybe 4 years old, and I was like, God damn, like this TV was like heavy and like didn't make any sense. So, and I'm thinking about like how my TV 4 years later is so much more improved. So the question I got for you is, how has your equipment that you use improved? Has it made a jump at any point where it's kind of like this much better, or it's always kind of been the same stuff?
Well, as far as videography goes, I mean, when I started, it was all the mini DV cameras. So we had, he had those little tapes, and they got filled up pretty quick. Those cameras weren't exactly. They might have been high def back in the day, but it's nothing. I mean, your cell phone takes 1,000 times better picture than them. So that was a huge jump in being able to videotape to SD card with high def cameras. That was probably one of the biggest jumps as far as equipment goes.
But what about like frequencies, like infrared, like trying different things and it expanding, right? There must be like different types of gadgets that you guys use that are different than just recording, right? With audio.
Well, I mean, we use EMF detectors because, mind you, conventional science hasn't proved any of this, but the theory is that a ghost consists of EMF, electromagnetic frequency. So I think Chris Fleming introduced what they call the K2 meter to the industry back on one of the ghost hunt shows. And that's kind of been like the de facto standard. When you ghost hunt, you take a K2 meter with you. And I think the rumor had it was the company who makes the K2 meter was on the verge of bankruptcy until Chris Fleming, he's a psychic medium, by the way, that's been on a bunch of TV shows. And the rumor was that the company was supposedly going out of business. And then when the K2 came on board, it like saved the company. And now every single team has a K2 meter. So the meters have definitely improved as well by far. So that was another fairly big jump. But I mean, other than that, I mean, the equipment really, like nothing really crazy has come out that's any different than what hasn't been out there for at least the past 10 years.
See, I'm a big audio/video person. Like, in other words, I want my proof to be, see, I don't like this stuff. See what he's got in his hand?
That's a K2.
Like,
And it's going off because of the computer that I'm using.
And that's a big problem with the
Cell
K2.
phone, too.
And that's a huge problem with that.
Or like, buddy, when you were putting those boxes down in the SS Salem to see if something walked by them, like,
Yep.
I don't like. I'll be honest, I don't like those type of things. I don't trust them in the sense of like where I trust audio and video recordings way more. Kev, you understand what I'm saying on that?
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're going with it. Like, you like kind of something that's a little more like you can, I don't want to say feel it, but you can see it, you can hear it, you can't really argue with it. But I guess that's what I'll ask about the K2. I guess, Joe, what's your you said it hasn't been proven that the ghosts or spirits are electromagnetic, but that's the theory. So I guess do you use that as a kind of a key piece of equipment, or are you more on the audio video also?
I mean, I'm an audio video guy, but I'm not going to lie and say I don't use a K2 meter or a REM pod. You just got to be very careful with them because if like walkie-talkies will set it off, cell phones will set it off. We make a point to either leave the cell phones in the car or put them on Wi-Fi mode. We try and eliminate as many false positives as we can by doing an EMF sweep of the locations and just logging areas where there may be some EMF, and then that way, if we're in an investigation and the meter's going off, we can go back and say, well, all right, there was a refrigerator on the other side of that wall, or there was a fan up in the ceiling over there, and you just try and do your due diligence as best you can. But I don't think anything's ever going to be perfect.
Here's another thing that I've had a problem with. Kev, I should lay down on the couch. Here's another thing I've had a problem with, Joe. So like. When I was in a band at one point, it was about probably 60, maybe 65 years ago. And we had on 2 occasions where we put on new, back then, the reel-to-reel tapes, where we had caught sounds that came with the tape. And, I mean, they sounded weird at first, and then when you played them back, you broke it down to where you could hear what it was, and it was just like a weird defect. So because I've had that happen to me in my lifetime, whenever somebody shows me proof and it's at the beginning of a tape, I have a hard time buying it. If it's somewhere in the middle or something like it's playing for a bit, then it pops out. That's odd to me. But at the very beginning of a tape, do you understand what I'm saying? You get it. What I'm saying?
I totally understand, and I mean that. I don't think anybody uses analog tape anymore. I think everybody's recording to microchip, which would kind of eliminate some of that stuff. I know. I mean, honestly, I've messed around with, because I have an old audio analog recorder. I've messed around with it, and I guess what you're supposed to do is, when you do that type of stuff seriously for ghost hunting, you're supposed to start with a brand new cassette every single time. Yeah. You know, you want to unwrap it from the wrapper and use that, just because if something was obviously pre-recorded on it, I mean, it could potentially have bleed through. But with the new micro recorders, that kind of eliminates that piece of it anyway. But that's I agree with you though, wholeheartedly.
I just I always try to rule out like this, because with sound it's wacky as all heck, and then with video I always worry about double effect or something stupid like that, right? But then once I get past all that and I start to see stuff that I can't like explain the way that I explain things like to my kids, like once I get to the point where I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I can't tell you what that is. Like that infrared that we had a couple weeks ago, if it was the ghost groping the woman by the breast. Like, what do you want me to tell you? It is what it is. It looks like it looks. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I can't say it's not that, right, Kev? It's like that's the toughest one. Like, what do we want me to do? Like,
that's what I was going to ask about, Joe. Kind of your opinion on the sort of the infrared or thermal stuff. Have you used that also?
We have a flare camera. Sure, we've used it. Yep.
Is this something? Yeah, because we saw some really cool stuff. There was one from Fort Adams where you could clearly see like a woman in the background. And there was another one that Mike's talking about where you could see like this woman was like sitting on a couch and it looked like a goat, like something was like groping her. And very cool. Kind of tough to explain away. So I've kind of found that to be just, it seems like it would be another kind of nice tool in the arsenal.
It's a great tool. It's an expensive tool too. I was fortunate enough that I actually had a close friend that worked for FLIR back in the day, and owed me a favor and got me a discount. Yeah, got me an employee discount on the camera we use. So we've been lucky in that aspect of it.
This guy needs to get any yard work done or anything like that, you know?
Say that, buddy.
Say that. Needs any yard work done? Wants to like pay people with paranormal equipment? I'll sign me right up.
I would think he is. Joe, you're Italian, huh?
Yeah, I'm Italian. Yeah.
There you go, Kev. Because you hear how he went from something this, owed me a favor, like he broke it down. Friend of mine went to work, owed me a favor.
And the favor was from another Italian. So there you go.
I'm going, why doesn't he just say, I got it from my friend. That's how we do things. That's it.
Yeah, he did have to pretty much sign his life away to get that equipment for a discount.
But I'll tell you this. Speaking of that, and we've joked about this, but it is the God's honest truth. Maybe it's just Buddy's booking. There's a lot of Italians in paranormal. I had no idea. I had no idea there were this many Italians in the paranormal world.
I never thought of it like that. I never thought of it like that.
I thought we were taught to stay away from it, Joe. As kids,
so if you're Roman Catholic, absolutely you're supposed to stay away from it without question.
So how come so many Italians are in paranormal? Did they not listen, Kev?
That's the allure, probably. You're told not to do your whole childhood, so that's what you start messing around with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With Madonna paranormal.
But the other thing could be, we're in Rhode Island. It's a kind of a Rhode Island, New England show. So, I mean, 80% of the people, that's what you're going to do anyway.
That's a good point. Yep, that's a good point.
All right, Joe. So when you catch stuff, is it that you catch stuff and you hear it afterwards, or have you ever saw something and caught it? Because like that's the ones that always are weird to me, where someone was like, I saw it and I also caught it on video, as opposed to later on I saw it on video.
I haven't caught much on video, to be honest. 10 years into this, you would have thought I'd have footage after footage after footage. I mean, The bulk of it we seem to get is audio. It's
Audio.
it's the EVPs. Like those are pretty plentiful when you do. And I mean, I don't know if you want me to go into, but electronic voice phenomenon, where you'll be recording with the recorder and you're not hearing it live real time. But when you go back and play similar to what you experienced, you go back and play the record and you're like, all right, well, something just answered me, and I know it wasn't anybody in the room with me.
Joe, that's where I'm trying to lead this to, because like I have this dumb theory of mine that it's a different frequency. It's a different, like, it's just missing what we're doing, and it comes across in audio because that would pass along easily through anything. So that's why like audio things are the ones that really freak me out, because I could see them picking up stuff that's not quite there. And then secondly, like, video is just, you know what I mean? Like, you see the video ones, and there's always like a way to explain how it could be this nowadays, it could be that. So now they don't even hold really any proof to me. But audio have that, especially if it's like a live, it's clean audio. It's got that scary feeling to it immediately when you know you heard something that's kind of real. That's what happened to us, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's ghosts, to be honest. Is it an alternate reality universe? I don't know, but I do know that sometimes when you ask a question, you're getting like a specific answer that would match the question. And sometimes you'll ask a question and you'll get something that doesn't fit the question. But when you get an answer that kind of fits what you just asked and the location you're in, it kind of dispels the myth that it's another universe type thing, or is it coming from outer space or whatever. But I mean, I don't really know if it's really I think it's ghosts, but I mean, I don't really can't say for sure.
All right, but Joey, so you're at Foxwoods, and you got to put money down on what it is. You either got to put your chips in the fact that you might think it's mostly ghosts. You think
I'm gonna go with this ghost, because I've gotten way too many pertinent answers to my questions.
All right.
And
I just can't say for sure.
From my perspective, we focus a lot on history and investigations, and like asking mundane facts about people who've been dead for 100 years, who were mundane people, who were like, and then to give you a direct answer, it's too coincidental to be something like outside universe, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I just but I gotta keep my mind open,
Right.
See, Kev, what do you think, man? Like, you think it's because I sometimes think it's almost like a multiverse type crossover.
It could be both, but the fact what Buddy brought up and what Joe brought up, when you're asking these questions about people that have been dead for 100 years, and you ask something mundane or maybe not well known, and you get like an answer that makes sense, I would kind of go with the ghost. I think I would agree with Joe. If I were to bet, I would put it on probably ghosts, but we don't know yet. And I guess, Joe, that's kind of the question I want to ask you. So, like, I guess we've talked a lot about the kind of the how and the what, but what's like your why? Like, why are you like doing this? Like, are you hoping to answer that question? Do you do it just because it's fun? Like, what like, why are you doing this?
Well, I started out, in all honesty, watching the paranormal shows on television, and I mean, I've always kind of had an interest in it, but when the ghost hunters hit the air back in the early 2000s, I was blown away because I couldn't believe people were actually ghost hunting for real. And it was something that always fascinated me. And I started watching the shows. I was hooked on all of them. And I was like, oh my God, I have to start doing this. And then I looked, and I had 2 toddlers on either side of me. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm not going to leave my wife high and dry. Watch the kids, but I said, as soon as they get a little older and I'm able to do this, I definitely want to start doing this. Number one, to see if what the television shows are doing is real, or are they just BSing everybody? So that was the main reason why I wanted to see for myself whether people really were getting this stuff.
I'll tell you what, though, Joe, me and you handled the 2000s a lot different. I had twins in 03. I never watched a single episode of that show ever. I didn't know
really?
about any of this. When we started this show last year, it was the first I've heard of any of this stuff as we go along. I'm just like, oh yeah? And people are like, yeah, the show that was on for like forever. And I'm like, look, dude, when you have twins, you don't know anything else but like the Wiggles, and oh my God, this wiggle passed out backstage, which happened in Rhode Island. And then I got to replace the wiggles. It was just like that was my life. Like, so my bubble was constant. So I missed those shows. So I didn't get that inspiration. That's why I'll be honest. I was taught when I hear something that I don't expect to hear or want to hear to get away from it. Don't go back looking for it. Don't go poking at it. Leave it be. So that's where I guess I'm always trying to figure out. So you saw the show. You're like, all right, if they can do it, I can do it. And then you're like, here we go. And then when's the first time you got like terrified, scared doing this?
I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you. I've never been scared or terrified. I've never had any bad experience doing this. I've never gotten scratched or pushed. The worst that has happened to me is on some of the EVPs. They've had some pretty choice words for me. I don't know what I can say or can't say on the show. So
look, I given up on the whole YouTube standards a long time ago. So
yeah,
say it as it is. So were they saying things specifically about you, or were they just doing common insults? Like, were they doing just like jokes, or were they being like?
Well, I mean, I've gotten called queer on an EVP. I've been told "fuck you" many times. I've been told to eat shit. That was
sounds like a neighbor. Well,
yeah, die. I've gotten die a few times. And honestly, I just ask normal questions, and I don't demand like you answer me. Who I answer? I'm just like, hey, who's here with us? What year do you think it is? Just mundane questions, you know. And then like one of them, I was in Chase Manor not that long ago in New York, and we were in what the lady of who owns the place told us was the toy room. So we're asking questions in about the toy room. I'm like, so what do you think about the toy room? You know, do you like the toys that are in the toy room? And we play back the recording. It's like, it ain't a toy room, bitch. So it's like stuff like that's been the worst I've ever experienced. Which I really pay no mind. I think it's great. I love it. In all honesty, I love it. I love it.
I see. It's a good thing that like ghosts, aren't specific. Like they're not like, Joe, you were horrible in math in third grade. You piece of crap. And, like,
yeah,
like,
no.
With things that you make you feel bad.
Yeah. No, but I've had them say my name though. I've definitely heard my name on EVP a bunch of times. Yeah.
All right, that would bother me. See, now that would bother me. But however, as long as they don't go too deep, because you ever been to Plymouth Rock as a kid? Like they take you on a school trip around New England to Plymouth Rock.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right. I hated it because you'd get there to the village and they would pretend like they didn't understand anything you said that was like modern. What's a toaster? Like I wanted to like punch a pilgrim. So that's my theory with ghosts. Like, because they come from like a certain time, they got this way of speaking. In my opinion, it always seems like they're stuck in their timeline, whereas like there's a lost in translation. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that's the problem I have with ghosts, because even their insults aren't that good. What was the best one? Eat shit. Like, come on.
Eat shit was definitely up there. That was a good one.
I mean, I think queer is funny that just because it sounds like it's from the 70s. I think it's 70s.
Yeah. Fag. I got fag too. I got called a fag too.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend anybody out there. You guys are asking me. I'm telling you what it said to me.
So, Mike, you're hoping he's got to find like the Don Rickles, the ghost of Don Rickles.
That's what I'm looking for.
Like real good insults, like
right. You walk in, Kev. He's like, your glasses are blah 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 blah. He tells you about your home address. He tells you about the last night you went out, what you drank.
Yeah,
that would be great.
We've gone like phantom music playing. You know, when there's not a piano in the place, and we got the dogs barking, and there weren't any dogs around where we were, and so I don't know.
I have a hard time with dog ones. I always feel the presence of I know this sounds dumb because I have 2 dogs, but I always feel like dog spirits are something that I can feel. And that's the only thing I've ever thought I've ever been able to feel is in like a dog. It was like there's a dog in this room. The smell of it, I guess. I can't explain it, but like I moved into another house and there used to be a dog here, and I keep getting the vibes of that dog all the time, and it's the dumbest thing. It's like I'm not thinking about the people that lived here. I'm thinking about the dog that I remember when I was a kid. So,
Yeah.
what are you with animals? How are you with animals?
I think that animals can be ghosts as well, with spirits. You know, I do. I mean, I never. I mean, other than those, you know, like the. I did get a meow once too at the Murdoch Whitney house. So we
Is that a bar, Joe?
The Murdoch Whitney? No, it's an.
Kevin, you didn't get it. Kev, stay with me.
No, I
Stay
missed
with
it.
me. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so we were on the stairs to the Murdoch Whitney house, and we were doing an EVP session on the stairs, and we played the EVP session back. We heard a cat. We heard a cat meow, and then we were wondering, like, well, did we hear it? Did we miss it real time? So I walked downstairs to the caretaker there, and I was like, "Hey, I know this is gonna sound like a crazy question, but do you guys have like a house cat here?" And like, no, and I'm like, "Well," I go, we think we got a cat meowing," and I played the recorder for her, and she's like, I mean, you could clearly hear it was a cat, and she's like, "Where'd you get that?" And I'm like, "On the stairs," and she's like, I don't know what to tell. She's like, it does sound like a cat. She's like, but I don't know what to tell you. So I was like, okay, well, just thought I'd ask and kind of, you know, whatever, went about the investigation or whatever. We went back out there maybe 9 to 12 months later. And it was the same caretaker, and we were just like, oh, hey, how's it going? You know, pretty good. What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, you know, we just had this Halloween event. And somebody caught this ghost cat on the stairs, and she showed me the picture, and it looks like a silhouette of a cat. I mean, it didn't have like wicked detailed feet, but I mean, you could clearly tell it was the outline of a cat with it. And I just looked at her and I said, I have the audio that matches that picture, and we were 3 stairs up when we got it from where that cat is. So that was crazy.
Yeah, that's a crossover. That's a weird one.
That's cool.
Kev, you got a question?
No, so Joe, I guess you mentioned earlier that you haven't had like a really scary experience, like you haven't been pushed or scratched. But I know you're part of a paranormal team. I guess, have you been in a place where others on the team have had something really bad happen and like they felt this bad energy, and maybe like you didn't because maybe they're more intuitive? I guess, how do you balance? I guess the question would be, have you been part of an investigation where others?
One of my teammates did get scratched at the SK Pierce on the back of his neck, and others were down there with him, and he wasn't alone. So I don't really think he was faking it, you know. Yeah. If he was, you know, I mean, it's a teammate. You want to, you know everybody, and you know whether, you know, they're gonna try and pull. I mean, if somebody pulls BS on my team, they're gone.
Yeah.
And I catch it, they're gone. I really feel it was legit. Other people were with him, and then the lines just appeared on his neck. I mean, I know this is gonna sound kind of crazy. I'm kind of hoping secretly that would happen to me, because then I can at least say it happened to me, you know, and then it would kind of even like solidify it home. Like, I waver back and forth about this stuff, guys. I'm like, you know, like, is this really going on? Is it not really going on? You know, and then whenever, and even a classic EVP always brings me back to, yeah, they're friggin' real.
Mm-hmm. All right, Joe. It's November 21st, 2021, and 7:34. You should now retire. There's no reason you want to go looking to be scratched. If that's your goal, my friend, are you good with cars?
Am I what?
Are you good with cars?
I can drive them pretty good.
Oh, see, no. So maybe we should learn how to fix them. Maybe that's something we can get into Joe into. Kev, maybe you can help me along, because at this point, Kev, you don't go further, do you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had other people on the show with the same kind of attitude. That we really want to kind of push it a little further. And I've never understood that, I guess, but you know, that's why you do it. That's why we're talking to you about it. So that's I guess the difference. But so a little bit more sort of on that subject of your team. So we have a lot of people on the show that are kind of intuitive. We have, you know, probably equal number of people that are like maybe I'd say more technical, like you. I guess, how is your team put together?
So one of the main questions on the form when somebody wants to join the team is, are you psychic or do you have any psychic abilities? And if they check that box off, we throw the application out.
Well, so if anyone's watching that wants to join Joe's team, you got a little clue there.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that's not how we roll, because we got nothing to substantiate that, you know.
That's interesting. Okay.
Psychic abilities.
Yeah. See, now we've had people on the show that are that probably look at it. I don't want to say the opposite way, but that see a lot of value in that and think.
Yeah, everybody's got their own thing, you know.
Yeah.
I just want to try it. I'm not a scientist, and I don't think any of this stuff is scientific, but I do want to try and keep it, for lack of a better term, scientific as possible, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, that's
you don't want
interesting.
any malarkey. You don't want any kind of like of this bullcrap hype. That you don't want anything that they can point to and say, see, Joe's group is full of shit. Because look at that. Look at what he just did. Look at that right there. You don't want any of that.
No, I really don't. I really don't.
All right, that's cool. That's like I said, a little bit different than a lot of people that have been on. So I guess I'll take it to sort of to the next level. So if that, so now kind of a little bit how you structure things and what you're going after. I guess can you maybe tell a story of maybe an investigation or two where you've really got some stuff on evidence where you're like, this is real, and like it kind of got you off that sort of doubting position that you sometimes fall back to, and you're like, this is real, this is why I do it, this is a really good one.
I mean, so for me, it's the EVPs, like we've been talking about for this last half an hour or whatnot, and like I said, those are the things that really pull it together for me and the team, and validation and stuff like that. And it's so hard to catch anything visual wise. Yeah. I mean, we got some stuff from DVR cameras and stuff like that, and I don't know. I mean, we try and debunk the stuff as best we can, and if we can't debunk it, we put it out there to people as make your own judgment. We just couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Yeah.
I think it's a good way to handle things. It's a good way to say stuff. We had a friend that used to say, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying I don't know.
And then we had one, like there's a guy that's he's pretty hard-nosed skeptic. His name is Kenny Biddle, something like that, and we posted something out there that we legit thought was paranormal, and we got from Rolling Hills Asylum, and Kenny like way opened our eye, and he debunked it. We tried to debunk it, and then like he pointed out stuff, and I pulled it down immediately, and I thanked him for it. I'm not out to fool anybody. I'm not out to make any money. I'm not out to fool anybody. I'm just out that if I get something legit, I'll post it, let people make their own judgment call on it.
So on that same note, though, Joe, here's the thing. Started doing the show about a year ago. All different areas of paranormal. So, the cryptids, spirits, ghosts, whatnot. Problem we talk about it every week, is there's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of... I don't want to show you my stuff because I want to keep my stuff for myself because it's going to make me $7 million and I'm going to be famous. There's a lot of that going on. It sounds like you try to stay away from that as well. Am I right or wrong?
I try, but there's a lot of dynamics when you run a paranormal group, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's not easy.
So they try to pull you down, and you don't engage.
They try. They try.
And you don't engage.
I'll engage to a point, and then it's just not worth it. I'm not making money off this. This is a hobby.
Yeah, it become like that though with everything. What I've learned is you either go completely nuclear right off the bat, or you just shut it down. And I really maybe have once gone completely nuclear, just because I wanted to get rid of a conversation quickly. I mean, I can't have a conversation even that lasts more than a day, a friendly one. Like, so to have an aggravating one, really, that is the worst thing in the world, because you can't physically do anything about it. You have to sit behind a computer screen and deal with aggravation that technically doesn't exist if you just put the phone down and didn't look at it. You know what I'm saying?
I know. You don't even want to know the weekend I had. Yeah, trust me, I get it.
All right. So wait a minute. No. See, Joe, you're doing this to me. I'm sorry. That means I know where you went this weekend. And I'll tell you this: in June, Kevin and myself went down to Fort Defiance, Virginia, and we helped MC the 3rd annual Bigfoot Con. Now, every table was a different style of Bigfoot person, whether they believed he was a ghost, or he was an alien, or he lived in the ground, or whatever.
Interdimensional.
And everybody
interdimensional is another big one. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
So it all went around. Everybody had their own, shot at it. And then this one guy gets up, and he's I won't say his name.
He's my favorite. My favorite.
Yeah, he dresses like immaculate. He's like he's older than me, but he's got like everything's like I can tell he's pressed. Like Kev, he goes to the cleaners. Like I wash stuff and iron it. My man went to the cleaners. He went up there perfect, and he pretty much told everybody that it's in their heads. And it was just like what, and he kept bringing up biblical stuff and then saying it was in their heads, and you could just see like mushroom clouds forming over all the other boots. And me and Kevin were like, this is gonna be really good. I look at Kevin and I was like, he's really gonna say all this stuff, and he was like, I think he's gonna tell everybody. And we're watching and we're going, wow, and we can see them all getting mad, and we're like, he's really gonna tell this. He's telling these people this. When they all were done, said and done, he's the only guy that didn't hang out with anybody. Shocker. But like everybody else hung out, this guy was like ostracized because he was telling them it was in their heads. So there's got to be you went to an event like that this weekend. You gotta have groups or people like that. You just want, you don't have to name names, but you just want to like just take out like a turkey on Thanksgiving.
I do, and I just walk past. I mean,
but
I mean, it's not worth fighting over. It's stupid. You know what I mean? It's
egos.
You believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. Let's leave it at that.
If they're only trying to prove a point, that's one argument. But if they're trying to prove a point and make you look bad or make them look better than you, that's when I get angry. There's a difference. Like, sometimes it's just an argument, but sometimes it's like I'm arguing because I want to argue with you and I want to prove you wrong. And I hate that crap because that happens too. Within the
it does definitely happen.
Ruthless, but
it's so. I mean, I should have took up fishing because the drama in this. Buddy can tell you. I mean, it's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a lot of egos. It's a lot of egos.
Oh,
a lot of like, can I get paid from this? Do I want to have my own show? I don't want to have my own show, but I'm going to do everything that shows that I want to have my own show.
It's
like
crazy.
People that are doing it for all the wrong reasons. People that will go to houses and tell them that there's a demon and they vomit in the front yard and it's nothing, and they're just blown out of proportion because they want to spotlight themselves. That's not why Joe does it. We do it to help other people. You're not doing it for that. You're doing it for yourself. You're in the wrong business.
Right, and unfortunately, that's probably why conventional science will never take any of us seriously.
Peer review, I talked about it with Tim Weisberg this weekend, and like peer review, as much as we try to do it, people just get too butthurt. They hold on to stuff. They believe that their stuff is sacred, and if you tell anybody who tells them otherwise or thinks otherwise, you're wrong. You're an asshole. Why would you attack me like this? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's the problem. Like, you guys, you're not at a point where you have like agreed sort of objective criteria to validate anything yet, and I guess it will get there at some point, but it seems like you're a ways away. So you could to have something like, if I want to submit something and it needs to meet these things, almost like when you submit a research article to a journal where you have to have, it has to be in a certain format and everything. I don't think you guys are at a point where people would follow that, because, buddy, like you said, everyone takes it personally. No one wants to be told it's not legit. Like that story you told with that gentleman that's skeptic and he opened your eyes. A lot of people don't want their eyes open. They'd rather have
absolutely not. I mean, the other thing is, like, we'll get a lot of stuff sent in from families that are looking for answers or whatever, and you try and tell somebody that on your baby monitor what's flying by the crib is dust. Oh no, it isn't. That's my dead grandmother watching over my baby, and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, well, you asked for our opinion. I'm giving it to you. You know, and I don't know what else to say. You know what I mean? And then you got other people that are like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you."
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, question. So you've been watching paranormal shows for a long time, right?
Yeah, and I just want to go on record to say I don't watch them anymore.
All right. Do they have that show though, where you guys show up and it's just the stupidest, fakest, dumbest, hilarious thing that you could think of? So, like, in other words, they call ghost hunters. You guys show up, and then it's like a guy's making the noise in the other room or something dumb. You know what I'm trying to say? Like
Somebody's trying to called us out there and then tried to fake something.
like yeah, like a
They've done that on
comedic
Ghost
take,
Hunters.
almost like a lampoon on ghost hunting is what I'm pitching. Like Airplane, like it's comical, meant to be comical. They call you guys out, and it's a ridiculous attempt at a ghost.
No, nothing like that. No, I mean, we've go ahead. I'm sorry. Did I miss this?
What I'm saying is, if there's never been a show like that, I want to do one.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, hey,
Take
you may be
ghost
onto
show.
something. I mean, like the everything is in a retread right now. All the shows, like all the old shows, are coming back. Nobody's got any fresh ideas, and everybody's doing the same crap. You might be
Let's make
onto
a fake
something.
one. We can make a fake one, Kev. It'll be fake, like guys with sheets running by the thing, like with the
Or like trying to throw up in the front yard before they get there to make them.
So the other thing I just want to point out is there's a lot of mental illness out there too, unfortunately, and we try and do our due diligence before we put ourselves in a situation to see if the person is mentally stable or not. And unfortunately, sometimes we've gotten duped and we've gotten out there and are like, this person's just they interviewed fine, they sounded fine, and it was mental illness, you know.
I feel bad, Joe, for that, and I do. But in my head, I'm still thinking, wow, Joe's got a million stories of wacky things that have happened to him. He should just put them all together and just make it like seem like a fake ghost hunter thing. Lampoon it. If you want, I'll be part of it. I'm confused all the time. I'll be like, what? The what? Every week I'll say the same question. He did the what? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I find some of the shows comical enough. Trust me.
Yeah.
So Joe, I wanted to steer us back to a couple of things that I'm very curious about in places you've been recently. So I guess Gettysburg and then also the Conjuring House. I want to make sure we cover both of those. We're at like
sure.
40-minute mark. So
pick.
I guess which order you want to talk about them in, because Conjuring House near and dear to our hearts in Rhode Island. We know it's up for sale. I know you had a role there. Maybe we could start there.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The owners are my friends. I've known the Heinzens well before they've owned the Conjuring House. I investigated with Corey for a few years before he bought it, and I know we were out at an investigation, and he kind of pulled me aside, and he's like, "Hey, listen, I got something to tell you. You can't tell anybody." I'm like, "All right, what's up?" And he's like, "I'm buying the Conjuring House in June," and I'm like, "What?" So I don't want it to seem like a biased opinion. They are my friends, but I don't really lie. It's just not me. But that house is legit active. I mean, so the one subject we have not talked about is called the disembodied voice, and that is actually a voice that you will hear real time with your naked ear. And there is only 2 places I've ever caught a disembodied voice. One was in Waverly Hills at the beginning of the body tunnel, and the second place was the Conjuring House. And so 10 years I've only caught a disembodied voice twice. So we were asking at Waverly, we're in front of the death chute. And the lady that was there, she's like, "Oh, sometimes when I come down here," she's like, I get this woman's voice, and I think she was I think she asked if she was a nurse or not, and she got an EVP saying yes, and I was like, well, I said that would make sense if it was a nurse. I was like, was it a nurse? And you just hear the word, female voice with a southern twang, say the word clearly, out of friggin' nowhere. And her and I just looked at each other like, did you just hear her? And she's like, I did. And it came from down the body chute, and her and I just tore ass down there. I don't know if we thought we were gonna maybe catch somebody or whatever, and there was nobody down there. So that was the first time. And the second time, I was in the what they call the safe room of the Conjuring houses, where all the monitors and TVs and everything are at. And we were actually waiting for a female friend of ours to show up before we started ghost hunting. And it was me and it was another gentleman, Bill Brock, and we were just sitting there shooting the shit. And we just heard this female voice say, "Hello?" And the front door just friggin' blew open. And I said, Bill, I said, "Oh, I'm like, Sherry's here." And he's pointing to the camera and he's like, "Joe, nobody pulled in the fucking driveway." I don't know, man.
Wait a minute.
What can I tell you?
Did you see the door blow open with nobody there and hear hello? But then you try to say that someone was there?
I thought it was Sherry. I thought
Even though
Sherry.
you saw no one.
I didn't see anybody. We heard a female voice say hello, and the door blew open. So we thought it was. I initially, I'm like, oh, I said to Bill, I'm like, "Oh, Sherry's here," and I didn't know she needed help to get the shit out of the car or whatever. And
I would have said it like this. That might have been Jerry.
it was the sweetest, kindest voice. It almost sounded like her, So I mean that. Whatever. I don't know what to say.
So wait, so we've had someone on. Kev, we can't act like other shows don't exist. Like this is like fake. It's not. So we've had someone on that dealt with the Conjuring house, but on the wrong end of it, we'll say the I guess you could say losing side as of now, technically.
Roxanne, yeah.
Yeah, let's call it that. So we heard all about that mess. But
Yeah,
now
that was a
it's for sale
mess.
again, so there must be another mess. I don't get what's going on. It's for sale again. So I don't know what happened. Did they clean it up? Did they try to flip it for more? I'm joking.
No, I mean, in all honesty, they got more than they bargained for, and they're just tired of it all. They're always having to run out there and kick people off the property. They live in Maine. They don't live at the house.
I was going to ask that. Okay, so they don't. Okay, so it's.
I figured that'd be the problem.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they live 4 hours up in Maine. And their families up there, and their animals are up there, and not to say that their family can't come down and the animals don't come down, but they're constantly driving 4 hours back and forth to open the house up for people, And they're just done with it. They're just done with it,
Were people like camping there? Because that's what I'm picturing in my head, in my goofy head. Like people
yeah, some
camping.
were. Yeah, some definitely were.
Just like staying there, basically.
Yeah, in the woods out back, people were camping out and just coming on the property and
living there.
It's that nobody, everybody. Oh, it's the Conjuring. How they don't respect people's property. So
Have you seen videos pop up of people like, "We're living on the property of the Conjuring house. We're going to be filming the next 5 days because I'm willing to bet you there's tons of that crap out there." I'm being serious, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they've had people squat out there for sure. That I can tell you. Yes. And then when they've gotten wind of it, it's not pretty.
Kev, your thoughts on that?
No, that's terrible. I whole thing, that's just absolutely awful. Like, why? I don't understand why anyone would think that you should be doing that. Like, why would I think I could go to somebody else's house?
Exactly.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, they've had people show up, knock on the door, and like, "Oh yeah, we're here for the investigation tonight or whatever," and like the people like totally lying just to get on the property and get a peek inside the house. That's happened multiple times.
Jesus.
Kev, have you ever had anybody sleep outside your house?
Once, but we'll say that for one of the other shows.
Okay. Buddy, as far as you're concerned, what do you think about this? Like, why would people sleep out there?
Honestly, it's in a very remote section of Rhode Island. It's in far northern Burrville. It's about a quarter of a mile from the Massachusetts border. It borders, from what I understand, it comes close to the Round Top Memorial Park that's in Burrville. They have wonderful fishing there, but it's acres and acres of woods that you could easily just go and park your car. I'm not going to tell you how, but I mean, it's definitely from someone who knew of the area long before the Conjuring House was ever a fact of mine, like that is a very remote area. That would be very easy to, yeah. And honestly, from running events at the jail, running events at Barnum, we had people come in the door, always constantly wanted to come in, always wanted to join. No, there was tickets online or this and that and the other thing, and you always get these last minute like, oh, this place is haunted. Let's go check it out. You know, these like these legend trippers, who I was like when I was 15 or 16, like breaking into the lad school and just investigating just because it's creepy and haunted. You get those types of people too who are still doing that, unfortunately, well into adulthood. So I'm just pay the ticket like everybody else and go and see the ghosts.
And shame on you, buddy. Shame on you.
Yeah, I know, buddy. It's like we're trying to be role models here, and it has to be adults because teenagers don't leave their house now. They would try to find it online, and that would be it. And that would, so it's got to be people that were doing it like you as teenagers and are still doing it, probably like you.
But having people just stay there like that, like, that's awful. Like,
it's mainly people trespassing. It's mainly people parking their car on the street and trying to like jump the gate and stuff like that.
You can see the house from the road. It's very
without question. Yeah, especially this time of year when the leaves come off the trees and stuff, you can see it clear as day. You know.
Hey, Mike, you think that after the show, I'll pick you up. We'll take a ride. See if
I got nothing to do for the next couple of days. You're in town, aren't you? Till Thanksgiving. Do you have a tent?
Yeah. All right, Joe. So that's Conjuring House. Just before we run out of time, I know you were in Gettysburg, and I'm fascinated from a historical point of view. But the more we do paranormal, the more we hear it's an amazing paranormal place, also. So maybe talk a little bit about your visit, your thoughts, all that.
The craziest thing that happened in Gettysburg for us was we heard the gunfire, and I know a lot of people that they say they hear the gunfire. So it was a Sunday night. And we spent all day Saturday investigating. We really didn't get much of anything. And then we went back Sunday night, and it was right at dusk, near dusk, when the park was beginning to close. And we were in the wheat field section of Gettysburg. And we all got out of the van, and we all kind of went into the wheat field. But everybody on the team just kind of spread out into different sections. And I lost sight of my teammates, and they lost sight of me. And then all of a sudden, I just started hearing this pop, 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 pop on this ear. And then I started hearing pop, 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 pop on that ear. And it was almost like I was caught in like this old school like gunfire going back. And I had my recorders running. I had my camera. I had everything running. And then I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I wonder where everybody is. And everybody heard it. And it was almost like that Field of Dreams movie where it just comes out of the field, right? And we all just gathered. And we were like, "Did you just hear the gunfire?" And like, "Oh my God!" And I wonder if I wonder if there's a recreation going on. And like, no sooner did somebody say that, you just hear, boom, like a big cannon, boom, like it must have went off about 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, "God, it's gotta be a recreation." But it was getting dark, and it was Sunday night, and we knew we had to be out of the field. So we immediately knew we had to leave. We hopped in the van. As we're driving out, there were 2 of the guards or park rangers or whatever. I says, pull over. Let's interview these guys before we go. And I turned my video camera back on, and we told the guys, and they just looked right at us and said, there would never be a recreation. We asked them if there was a recreation. They're like, there would never be a recreation this close to park closing, and there would never be a recreation on a Sunday. You guys were lucky. You heard the ghost fire.
Mm-hmm.
How loud was it?
I'm sorry?
How loud was it?
The popping was just like pop, 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 pop. It really felt like it was like I was in the middle of it, and it was going like back and forth.
Wow!
And the cannons were definitely loud. It was like boom, boom, and it was. But I mean, it did sound like those were off in the distance.
Mm-hmm. Which they were. I've been to Gettysburg, Joe, probably a dozen times. None of which for paranormal reasons. Always for historical appreciation. I've walked the field. I've seen the reenactments. A close friend of mine does the reenactment, so I go for that stuff. And I know, knowing the wheat field, upwards of about 50,000 men on both sides died within a matter of hours. They went back and forth. They were called the bloody wheat field. So I mean, it's like tremendous like energy. I've known plenty of people who have had experiences in Gettysburg, but anywhere on that battlefield, you can only imagine the amount of energy, death, suffering, emotion that's just left there and stuck there. I've known people that have seen flashes in the middle of the battlefield.
Wow.
It was like January, so it's not fireflies or anything.
Yeah.
Can I ask a dumb question? Why that battlefield more so than other battlefields?
I was just going to ask something similar to that, but I mean,
It's the most popular. It's the most visited. It's the most investigated. You don't hear people investigating at Antietam at all, which is the bloodiest day in American history.
You're right.
Honestly, I've known people that have experiences there. I've known people that have experiences at like Spotsylvania Courthouse, or like anywhere in America. It's the attention because it's Gettysburg.
That's what I'm saying. Why is that? So why? No. See, buddy, you almost counteracted the question. So why? I'm asking, why is it happening at the popular places like Gettysburg?
That's where we are the most. It's like white Labradors. White Labradors, the most common dog to get cancer because most people have Labradors. We experience that the most. I think that's.
Let me use it. Yeah.
So where's he going?
There's just more observers there. Like the same stuff's probably happening at Antietam, but there's not a lot of people. There's not enough people there like experiencing it. But the same stuff's probably happening. Whereas Gettysburg,
I've never been, but you're probably right. I do want to go. I do want to go there at some point.
Bloody Lane, check it out.
Really cool. Yeah,
because I think of like World War I too, like the Somme in Europe, where
men died.
Yeah, exactly. A million men died there over the course of like.
I know when we posted we were going to Gettysburg, like it was like, make sure you go to the wheat field. Make sure you go to the wheat field. Make sure you go to the wheat field. So like that was the tip we were getting. And then we had another team member who went years ago, and he got an EVP of pigs grunting.
Those are farms. Those are a lot of farms. They fought on.
So and then somebody said something. Did they send them out there to eat the body parts or something like that?
Whoa!
I don't know.
Like wild boars were used to be seen after battles, I believe, and go and eat the dead. Yeah, I've heard of that before.
Wow.
Feral, yeah. That's an awful. We should just, Kev. I wish I had some Hallmark music. I would just stop playing that. We'd all look sad.
Yeah.
And just fade the show out early.
This probably in all the episodes we've done, the only time I wished we didn't do live and we could edit, because I would like to. Yeah.
I just got so sad right there. I really did.
Yeah.
The idea of pigs eating people out of the grass is probably the worst thing I can think of right now, because one, I hate pigs. Never like pigs. I just don't like looking at pigs. They scare me. The snout has a real weird thing. It's like wet, but it's flat. It's not cool. It scares me. Secondly, I know that's done. You feed people to pigs. And buddy, please don't just say what you got to say. No Labrador retrievers, please. Christ almighty. Joe, when you guys go out for an investigation, what are you looking for to make you think like, all right, this is somewhat legit. This is something I'm gonna put some time into. Like, what are you looking for? The positives, the things that make you, oh, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna look into this for this person.
I mean, we do a lot of residential cases too, and people want answers as to what's going on, and our goal is to try and get them those answers. And I think really the only way to get something substantial for them would be through recordings and EVPs, So in that aspect, when we're looking to help a family, that would be our main goal, And then a lot of times at certain sites, like they have, we know we have a ghost here named John or whatever, and we'll try and see if we can capture that same name to collaborate other teams that have been there,
Mm-hmm. And does it usually work out?
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
50-50, 70-25?
I will say this. As far as home investigations go, I would probably say maybe 1 out of every 15 residential cases we might get something legitimately paranormal. And the rest of it, either we didn't because we're only there a certain amount of time, and these people live there their whole lives and spend days there, and we're only there for a small window. So sometimes, maybe the place was haunted. We just didn't get anything,
Plus, you're almost asking the monkey to do tricks. You can throw bananas.
That's a great point too, right? I think if I was dead, I don't know whether I'd want to be bothered or not. But where I was a live ghost hunter, maybe I would. Maybe I'd look forward to leaving an EVP on somebody's recorder,
If I was haunting someone's house with Kev, I say, Kev, shut up until these people leave.
Oh yeah.
And then let's get back to it. And
then I'd raise hell. Then I'd raise hell because they invited Joe in.
Mm-hmm. I'd ruin everything in the fridge first. Hey, real life hauntings that would really upset me. Yeah. I'm gonna leave toothpaste in all the sinks.
Because you'd have to be like, we told you not to go to anybody. Yeah. You went to Joe. This is what happens.
Not gonna hurt you. It's gonna really aggravate you with stuff that just shouldn't happen in a house with kids. Like they should just learn to clean up.
You'll never find your keys again.
No.
I will. Guys, can I make one other point?
Go ahead.
I've been to locations multiple times, and I've been to places where we've gotten some crazy stuff going on, and you go there a month or two later and you get nothing. Mm-hmm. So they run hot, they run cold.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it that they run hot or they run cold, or does it have to do with the people that are there?
Does it? That's a really good point too. I mean, our team is pretty consistent, but sure. I mean, I think that the energy that's brought in there definitely plays a role in it.
Now, do you have a medium with you?
No, listen.
We talked about that already.
Right. Then, So, is there anybody that has a bad vibe? Can you tell if they're in your group?
What do you mean?
Some people give off a bad vibe when it comes to paranormal. Like I might give off a bad vibe. Like it's just like I'm not. I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, we've had people whose personalities just didn't jive with the teams. You know what I mean? And then that gets really, really, really messy.
Yeah.
Dramatic.
We've kind of heard from other people that if you're completely closed off and you bring this sort of energy of being completely closed off, nothing's going to happen. And that always. I wish we weren't out of time because that always bothered me a little bit because that means it's not completely objective or scientific. But we'll put that aside. I guess what I'll ask is, it seems like you have to kind of tread this fine line of, we don't want psychics, we don't want mediums, but we do want to keep an open mind and we do want evidence. So if you're recruiting someone that's completely closed off, that might not be a good idea either.
Agreed.
Okay.
That's the best way to handle Kev.
Yeah,
you just diffused him like a pro, Joe. Like, seriously, how long have you known Kev for?
Yeah, it only took him an hour. It literally took him an hour to figure that out. Wow. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Buddy, what else you got?
Oh, I got one last quick question, Joe. As an investigator, as a guy who relies heavily on audio evidence, it's my bread and butter for everything. Do you use any kind of special microphone technology? Do you use your regular Sony recorder? Do you
have any
plugins?
If you saw my recorder collection, I lost count how many. I'm always buying recorders to try different ones to see which ones get more and which ones get less. And I've gotten EVPs on my camera mic too. And I got one down in Weymouth with my Sony camcorder. And where it's got the two stereo mics up on top, the EVP only landed on the left channel. I was recording in stereo, and the EVP only showed up on the left channel.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So how can you debunk that? Right? It was like something was sitting on the mics are right next to each other. The stereo mics are right next to each other. Yet whatever came through just on that left channel. But I'll try everything. I'm always buying recorders and stuff like that.
Do you have a personal favorite?
I mean, I'm going to sound completely biased, but I mean, I like the Olympus stuff a lot. I like the Olympus stuff.
Sony myself, but yeah, no.
Yeah, I have a couple of Sonys. I've gotten some really good stuff with Sonys. Yeah.
I And Kev, what do you got before we wrap it up?
Nothing. I thought it was a very, very good conversation. I'm still a little disappointed that it only took Joe an hour to figure me out. You've known me for what, almost 30 years, almost, and you still haven't caught on. You still haven't caught on.
No, I haven't.
So, Joe, thank you for coming on. Great conversation.
Thank you, guy. I really appreciate it. Anytime, buddy. Buddy's a pal, and I'm hoping to get into the jail, buddy. I'm hoping to get into the jail.
We're gonna get back in there soon, though.
Okay,
I'm
man.
gonna get in touch with those people again. And,
All right, man. Definitely let me know. Definitely let me know.
We had shadows. We had all sorts of stuff. Then we had nothing. Then we had EVPs and great stuff. And then we had nothing. So
That's how it goes.
Said, it's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on the everything.
Yep. Definitely let me know.
Again, thank you for coming, Joe.
I appreciate it.
Tune in. We have author Micah Dank. Micah he's written a 6-part series, further into the rabbit hole, and it explores the conspiracy theories in our world today. It explores messages and symbology used in the Bible, stuff used throughout time that has meant to like communication, but done secretly. So I'm really excited for that. So please tune in for that.
Joe, it's great. It's great having you. I appreciate the way you handle stuff, the way you go about things, like not wanting to include what my dad would call nitwits with you. That's basically
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them in this hobby, man.
Yeah. So it's weird. Like I said, we've been going through this, and I'm officially at a point where it's like 90% of stuff I don't know if I believe in, but then there's 10% I can't explain, which freaks me out, which I kind of believe in. So I just appreciate the style. That way you're carving out anything that can be nonsensical. But we should do the farcical version of it and make a joke show where it's like, you absolutely know that it's not real, and it's just them faking it. It's like a goof, like Airplane.
About half of the ghost shows on now.
Yeah, that's how my head works. Hey guys, this was Legit Paranormal for Buddy Thayer, for Joe Rainone, for the Genius Kev. It's me, Mike Vepri, King Michael. This was Legit Paranormal from legitpodcast.com. 11/21/21. We're ending at 8:12 by my time. We will see you again next Sunday night. The next show would be Legit Fantasy Basketball tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Wrestling should be, I think, Wednesday night. If we might do a show on checkers, I don't even know by now. We'll let you know. Thanks. We'll see you next Friday.